Hello, everyone. Welcome to UX Academy. We are about to kick off. Hello, everyone. Welcome to UX Academy. We're about to kick off. I just said that twice. It seemed there's a small delay on the live stream. Hopefully, everyone can hear me. If you can, please add a comment. Let me know you can. Also, let us know where you're dialing in from. We'd love to hear from you. You should see the comments quite easily wherever you're streaming from, whether it's YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook. Great, one comment, so that's a good start. Oh, a few coming in, so great, thank you. Thanks, Priya, thanks, Nadia, thanks, Lisa, I'm guessing, and hello from Liverpool, so very nice. I'm going to kick off, just going to, hello from Riyadh, great, Antwerp, Canada, Bristol, very nice. We will kick off in a minute or so. Just let everyone join. Wow, we have people from Munich. Hi, Gabriela from Brazil, Aneta from Munich, Raquel from London, New York, and Serbia. Great. I'm not reading all of them, but good to see a selection of people. So yeah, let's kick off. So this is the live UX Masterclass, UX UI Masterclass, where we will talk about UX UI. We have one of our teachers from UX Academy, Natalia, who is in the background, and I'll bring her in a minute. And she's going to share a little bit more about the world of UX UI. So here's the agenda. I'm going to give you a little overview of UX Academy very, very briefly. But the most of the session will be focused on what you're here for, is to hear about how to become a UX designer, some UX design fundamentals, building a UX design portfolio, and then we will do a Q&A session at the end. So please stay on for that, where you can learn more and ask questions directly to Natalia, who has a significant amount of experience in the world of UX. Having previously worked at KPMG in London, so among many other companies, and I'm sure she will share more when she comes on. So a little bit about who is UX Academy. You may have seen us before, or you might be new to UX Academy. We've been around for, it says 4 years, but actually it's 5 years now. I need to update that slide. We started off providing in-person training in London. But over Corona, as most companies did, we switched to online. Our courses are focused on practical courses, which means you work on a project. We find companies, usually startups, that have projects, and then as you're doing the course, you work on that project during those 8 weeks. So it's very much a practical course focused on building a portfolio, which is based around a real project. And then you can use that obviously as a portfolio to help you kind of develop your career further or get your first job into the UX world. So as I mentioned, the courses are live. There's small groups, usually around 6 to 8 people in a class. So it's very small, very individual. And you have a lot of time with the trainer. There's 2 trainers, and then you also will have support from the mentor during the 8 weeks, which are separate sessions. We've trained a lot of companies, a lot of well-known companies, even more logos on our website, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Deloitte, Sainsbury's, BT, a lot of London-based companies as well, and international companies. So we have a great portfolio and a lot of experience, and a lot of testimonials on our website as well from students. Quickly, tools we use. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need to install anything in advance. We're using Slack for communication, especially as a team, because you put into a team to work on a project and with the client. We will also have Figma, obviously kind of standard, Zoom and Google Drive, and you'll have access to all the presentations and the recordings as well. So We also provide mentorship within the course, which is separate from the classes. You have a weekly meeting with your mentor, which is 30 minutes long, to discuss your project, any challenges you have, and they will help you to get further along the next milestone before your next class. Yes, and here are two trainers I mentioned, Natalia and Stratis, both lead product designers, having previously been, working in just doing UX and now more on the product side. So they have a great 360 experience. Stratis, he's the lead product designer at Gusto, a very well-known and successful startup, managing the design teams there. And then Natalia, as I mentioned previously, at KPMG, but I'll let her introduce herself and talk a little bit more about why you're here today and a bit more about the UX UI design journey.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Navid, for introduction, and thank you for having me today. I'm so excited to share a little bit about user experience, because user experience actually is my passion. So as already Navid mentioned, I am a lead product designer. What does it mean, product design? And in context of digital product design, it means that I work with user experience, user interface, and also with business goals that make actually even much we excited, because I am advocate user needs and follow the business goals that make my job quite challenging. And today we will going to talk about user experience, what is user experience is, and of course I would like to start with definition, right? So user experience is how person feels about interacting with a product. And this definition created by Don Norman. You see Don Norman on the picture. It was in 90s, and Don Norman still writing books and give a talk. So I highly suggested follow Don Norman in social media, because that's really something that can change your life, even if you are not going to be UX designer in the future. Just you will understand the world that is around us. And actually user experience is all around us. And if we talk about user interface, when we speak about digital, but not only. If we speak about microwave or dishwasher, it's also user experience. So when we speak about user experience for any kind of devices, we speak about the interface, and this can be interface digital or not. In our case, we are talking about digital interface. So we are going to talk about the interfaces like mobile applications or websites or web application, and user experience and design. What first pop up in your mind when we are talking about user interface design, it's of course when you look in some application that make our life easier. So that can be something like a streaming, what you are doing now, right? You're watching the live streaming. It can be maybe application like a Spotify, listen music, or watching video like a Netflix or YouTube or Disney Plus. But also it can be something in collaboration with engineers, like the example what I have now on the screen. So it's application that help you to know how is your car and see the updates and actually see all the information that you need to know about your car, and also help you protect and maintain your car as much as possible, keep it safe. And also that's the job of us as a user experience designers, but also it's very close to engineering, what is very, very excited to work together in a big team and collaboration. But also when we speak about user experience, it can be virtual reality, right? So it's something that going out from physical world, is going out from some kind of digital that we use day to day. It's a other dimension, right? And probably you know about the Vision Pro, and probably you already even tried. And there are lots of other devices like Oculus where you can experience virtual reality. And virtual reality, it's also some kind of user experience. One of the first user experience for virtual reality is, of course, security, right? So you need to design how to make this environment safe, how to make it engage, and also how to make it easy to use. So user experience, it's all about the experience itself and satisfaction. So you have to make your user actually happy. And Augmented reality, it's another case, right? And it's also digital product, right? But it's also mix of reality and digital. And for me, it's one of the best product in the last few years, because when I moved to London, I lost myself constantly. I couldn't get where I need, and it was for me a nightmare to follow the map in a flat. So when pop-up AR, that was a really helpful for me, and I really used this application, and I was so engaged that I like even try myself how to build it, how does it work, and what is actually experience of that, right? And experience is about how to show the navigation, what size of these arrows should be, how to help user to guide around the city. So that's a quite challenging, and in the same times is interesting. And also what I like a lot about my career, it's that you always learn something new, and you always learn about technology. And what you learn today, tomorrow probably will be new technology, will be new kind of experience. Maybe we will live in another dimension, another world, and you need to adapt and learn more and more things. But if we back to day-to-day life about the user experience in digital world, it can be something simple that probably you have in your home, right? It's an example of Peloton. So basically, probably it's a lot of jokes about bicycle and iPad, and they work together, but actually that's make your exercise much more engaged. And that's part of our job, make our life as a users more engaged when you are interacting with the product, and we're responsible for that. So we're thinking not only how to make easier things, but also how to make more fun. And another example what I would like to give you, it's smart home. Again, it's something between engineering and design. So how we can make home smart, how we can help people save electricity and actually calm them when they are traveling, when they are leaving home for a long time, if everything good with the home, if light is off, or opposite, when you are arriving to home from job in a cozy evening in winter, you would like your home become warmer, so you need some remote control of that, right? It sounds very cool, right? 1 hour before you get home, you turn on heating, and when you back to home, it's lovely and warm. For that, we need some devices, we need some technology, and also we need the interface that to make things easy. And that's another kind of the application, another kind of technology you can work on as a user experience designers. So user experience, as I mentioned, it's all around us. And we are talking about digital, but remember that your TV, your remote control, your dishwasher, it's all about experience. When you open your refrigerator, or if you are using your microwave, if it's clear for you, the symbols, and if it's not very clear and you need to open guide what means this icon, probably it's not very good experience, that this icon was not very well tested with user, and you are struggling, what does it mean? So how UX designers work? As I mentioned, user experience is interaction between artifacts and users. That's the most important. What you need to remember about user experience is interaction. So you are interacting, user and artifacts, mobile application, web platform, website, landing pages, or any other devices and tool. And that's interaction that happening between that is user experience. So basically, when you see or you hear the expression or job title interaction designer, that's also part of user experience responsibility. You're interacting. Of course, interaction can include also small details like animation, how things move on the screen, but big part is how you interact, how happening this connection between screens, how this connection happening between one step to another step, like for example, e-commerce, when you are buying the product, how user have to follow these steps, what user have to do in that, can we make it easier, faster, can it be by just with one click? So all that is an interaction, and that's a responsibility of user experience designers, how to make easier, fast, and also engaged. And you as a UX designers work with technology, you know all about technology. In this case, you know about the most of the application, but you look at this application from the other angle. You start to understand who's the user behind that, what is kind of interaction happening, what user want to achieve with this application. And if you are going to, for example, Spotify, you want to listen music, but maybe you want to listen podcast. Or if you are watching the videos on Netflix, how to make it easier to suggest you something, right? So in this case, you start to like think much bigger than just the screen in front of you. You think more about satisfaction and engagement. So UX designer responsible of empathy. So you are understanding who is the user, who is in front of you. You also work with wireframes and prototype. You are conducting user testing, so to understand if your idea is enough good. And of course, you deliver the design. So we, as a designers, we work always with the other designers and also with developers. So we deliver to developers what we produce. But before we deliver that, we have to test to be sure that what we suggest is the right for our users. And why we speak about understanding the users is because we, as a designers, we are not the users. You are the user. And in my experience, work around the globe show me how is important empathy. I am from Europe, and a few years ago, I have experience to work in South America, and it's other continent, it's other culture, it's other language, and it blew my mind how people think different, how they interact with the technology different. And that was the moment when I realized what does it mean empathy, because what I have seen all my life and how is my brain works is not the same how it works for people in other part of the world. That's the reason why part of empathy and research is quite important, because the more you know about your user, the person who used that application or this web platform, then better will be outcome, and you will design what really solve the problem for these people. And basically, we always mention that we are solving the problem, because we don't design just to design. And that's the most important part. We are designing to solve and problems, make life easier for people that use some applications or websites. If you are paying your bills online, probably you have this experience, right? You pay your bills online and you have to learn how to make it, how don't they make mistakes. Probably you already had some mistakes when you are transferring the money, and maybe it was not your mistake as a user. Highly probably was not very clear steps for you to make these mistakes. So for that, we are exploring what is the age of the person who will use our platform, what is their gender, what is the level of knowledge about technology, their location, their interest, and that will help us to understand and empathize with the users. And one of the most common framework what we use for building the products, digital products, is design thinking framework. And maybe you already have heard about this framework because it's quite famous, but I would like to give you some overview. What does it mean design thinking in the world of digital product design? And actually, you can apply this design thinking framework in your own life and solve some problems maybe that happening around you. So design thinking framework include 5 steps. Empathize. When you are learning about your user, you are going to the research process. So you're trying to understand what is the problem. If it's something new on the market, you will have a global research to understand what can be new in the world and what can be new in the financial tech, or what can be in engagement, or can be in medicine. So you're exploring where is the gap, what we need in this moment for world. Or maybe you would like to improve, and your client or your company, they need improve existing product. So you are going to empathize with the users, how they now learn and what they are doing now, how that works. And then you go to define the problem, because while you are doing research, you can define a lot of problems. You can uncover even something that other people haven't thought about. And in this case, you can have a list of priority that problems you need to solve. Maybe people cannot buy easy the product, and they add the product in online shop to the basket, but never this product going to the next step, because maybe you have some problem and issues with interface, or maybe technical problems, and you need to uncover what is the problem. Or it can be something totally new, why people do something here or there. So why they prefer something instead of something. Maybe it's because there is a gap in the market, and you need to solve this problem and create something new and bring something new to the world. As soon as you define the problem, you are going to ideate. And ideation is probably the most excited part, because in ideation, you don't have borders. You can think about the future technology. You can imagine how things will be in 30 years. You can propose all kind of crazy ideas, because that's moment of your creativity. And there are different kind of exercise to spark your creativity. Sometimes we need to jump or dance or do some crazy things to spark your creativity, to propose something new. And in this stage, quantity is better than quality, because you need to have as much as possible ideas. As soon as you are ready with your ideas and you agreed with your team, you are going to prototype. What does it mean, prototype? You fake it until you make it. So you use special tools to bring your idea to life without development. So it's the early stage of a product development, when your product can be touchable. So you can make a mobile application that looks like a mobile application, that feels like mobile application on the phone, but is not developed. So basically, let's say it's a lot of wireframes, a lot of screens that you connect between each other and give the feelings. And you go to test. You test with your users. It's the people that will use this product, or they already use this product. And you test if your idea, you validate your idea, if this idea really help and solve. So that's basically design thinking framework. But it's not very linear process, to be honest. And in our job, we are experimenting a lot. We go from step to step, and that's quite normal process. And sometimes you have to back from the last step test to the first step if you need to empathize, and you realize during the test that something happened, you didn't define right the problem. Maybe in a stage of prototyping, you think you need more ideate, and the idea that look nice in the beginning now actually not so engaged, and you will back to the stage of ideation. Maybe you will uncover during the testing that actually the problem is defined, but you need to explore more, and you would like to back to the research. So that's not a linear process, and that takes time. But in the end, you have something that really has value for your user. So that's a design thinking framework. And here I have for you some example how you can apply this framework and what result you can get. So in the left side, you see the remote control. Probably you have one. I have. And there's a lot of buttons, A, B, C, D, with colors, red, green, blue. What does it mean? I'm not sure. And if I will not read the guidelines, probably I will never ever understand. In the right side, you see advanced remote control for TV, where you have much less buttons. And I'm sure if you will compare, you will see the big difference, how easy with one and with another. But of course, remote control itself cannot exist without the TV and also the software that is on TV, and how you can collaborate, communicate with the device. So as I mentioned, it's a quite interesting and engaged process when you as a designer work with the engineers and you break the boundaries. So what was not possible 5 years ago, now it's our day-to-day life. So today we're thinking what will happen in the next 5 years or even 10 years, right? And you work on the new technology or a new experience what user can get. And your result of the job is to make the life of user easier, and don't let them think that they are not very smart. That's also one of our object. We try to avoid that situation when person look at something and like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with this remote control. What all these buttons? So we have to avoid this situation and make people feel comfortable and smart with our devices. And of course, application if we talk about digital world. And if you are still want to be UX designers and it sounds engaged for you, I would like to highlight what skills you need to have as a UX designer. So I would like to split the skills into groups. It's a soft skills and hard skills. So when we talk about soft skills, we speak about your workplace skills. And when we speak about hard skills, it's your technical capabilities. So soft skills, it's all about you as a person, how good you are in collaboration, how good you are in teamwork, because you will work a lot with other people, how good you are in storytelling to express your idea, your design, why you took this decision instead of this decision, because in user experience, you can get more than one solution for every single problem that pop up, and you need to take a decision why this instead of that, and you have to explain. And also empathy, right? Because as a UX designer, you have to be close to people. You don't need to be this person, but you have to understand what they feel and where they are struggling. And empathy, it's a quite important part of our job. And from technical perspective, you need to learn search methods, right? Because you need to understand how to make a research. You need to know what kind of research methods you need to use in what situation, when it should be interviews, when it should be focus group or A/B testing. So you need to know what kind of research method exists and when to use them. And of course, you have to design. For that, you need to learn principles of interaction design and also behavior, right? How we behave with technology. It's a very interesting part because it's a lot about our brain and our behaviors as humans, our historical behavior with technology. And you need to know how to hook and how to help user stay more engaged. And sometimes technology not just for good, sometimes they are push you to stay more like a social media when you are scrolling, right? So that's also hook what we are doing to keep people engaged with the applications or programs what we are making or games. And frameworks and prototyping. So as a UX designer, day to day, you will create ideas and you can do it with paper and pencil. But then you are moving to the digital tools and you start to work on frameworks and prototyping. And in this moment, one of the most common tool on the market is Figma. So Figma now allow you create the wireframes, create sketches, and also create the user interface design. So you can go from ideation to the final visuals just in one tool. And what is now also good in Figma that it's help you collaborate with developers. So in Figma, you can take your design and pass to developers, but a slightly different way. So you talk with developers in other language, and Figma allow you to transform what you design to the language that is understandable for front-end developers. So Figma, it's a tool that I would suggest you take a look, and it's work for Mac and for Windows, and also you can just open in browser and you can create your free account and just to try how does it work, to be aware of what is the tool on the market. And there are other tools, of course, but why I mention Figma, because now it's a leader on the market and one of the most required tool in the job description. And we talked today about user experience design, but I would like to highlight you that actually user experience design, it's your fundamental knowledge, because after you can add much more in your skill set. And as I mentioned, I am product designer. That's what you see on the top. But in the past, I start with user interface design then I add user experience design, and then I become a product designer. So product design include, as I mentioned, UX, UI, user experience, user interface design, but also business point of view. But for example, you can stay just in UX design field that would include user research and interaction design. But maybe you will be so engaged with user research if you like to talk to people, if you like to make an interviews, and you can be very specific field expert is user research. But also maybe visual design will catch your attention and you will work just on interface. You will be responsible on color of the buttons, fonts, icons, images, shape of the elements on the screen. And that's all about user interface design. But user interface design cannot exist without user experience design. So even if you want to focus all your attention to UI designer, you still need to stay with UX design because you are changing with interface, with colors, the idea of experience. Let's imagine button. So designer, UX designer, make a wireframe where show it for you that here should be button this size. And you as a UI designer can add the color and that will change everything. So if it will be red button, that will take all the attention on the screen, or if it will be light gray, it will be not visible at all. So it's a very big compromise between UX and UI. And maybe if you already take a look in the job description, you have seen sometimes UX, UI. And sometimes just UX or just UI. But UX, UI, it's a good mix match if you have both skill sets. And if we talk about the jobs, I would like to highlight what kind and types of jobs you can meet in your journey as a UX designer. So my experience, as I have around 15 years of experience, include all of that kind of types of the job, and I enjoy all of them, and they are quite different. So you can work in startups, what means a small business. It's something new on the market. It's something that have to go to the live soon. And it's something unique at this moment that doesn't exist usually. Or it's maybe something better or improved than already exists. Like, for example, maybe it's some online banking that actually we have traditional bank, but maybe it's something involved and better for some reason. So startups, actually, it's something small, and you talk directly to the CEO of the company, and probably you sit in next chair. And startups are working with a hard deadline, with a tight budget, and they require someone who can very quickly fix the problem, manage their task, manage the expectation, go to the research, get feedback, talk to developers. So it's quite stressful, but very interesting, because when you are working in startup, you are gain a lot of skills and you are learning while you are doing. But if we speak about the big companies, and I have experience to work in one of big four, it's quite different, because in the big four, you have usually a big group of developers, designers that collaborate, communicate, work on something global. It can be some product, or it can be many products in the company. It can be some technical platforms, it can be web platforms, it can be maybe platform for government. So you are working on something specific. So you can work maybe on just user research, or just user experience, or just user interface, and you focus in and you become an expert in that. And what is the big difference between startups and big companies is that in big companies, you can get a lot of mentorship, people that can help you, guide you what to do. You can ask their opinion, you have a time to think. In the startups, maybe you will be one designer, maybe it's two designers, and you will help to the principal designer. So you have a possibility to learn, but it's a speed, right? And it will be quite different. So if you like a little bit push and press, probably startup will be good for you. If you like be soft and calm, probably big companies. But also maybe you would enjoy freelance. So freelance is not the same like remote job. because remote job, it's basically your job in a big company or startup when you have to be 9 to 5 online. In freelance, you are responsible for your time and you just talk to the client and you promise when you will deliver something. Nobody counting the hours what you are in front of laptop, and you just speak about what should be delivered and when that would be delivered. So basically you are self-employed, and it's quite interesting because in this journey I learned how to be a manager, how to communicate with client, how to manage their expectation, listen their feedback, also pay my taxes. So all that start to be I start to be like a small company, but company of myself, because I start to be responsible of everything what's happening around. And all that is doors opening for you if you want to try yourself in a different types of jobs. And also you can switch because life is long, right? And sometimes you work in freelance because of some life condition, then you go to the big four, and it's totally fine. So you just learn how to be in a different situation and actually learn new skills. And I know one of the most common question is how much does UX designers earn? And I have for you here the latest updated the amount of money you can earn. It's April 2024. It's a platform called Glassdoor. So I suggest you, if you would like to take a look. I pick United Kingdom, so you can pick another place, and you will see the range of the salaries for user experience designers. And of course, this range depends from your level. So you are junior, probably you will start with 35K. And if you are going to the higher position, it can be six figures, so 100,000 pounds and more yearly. So that's your experience, and that's the expectation what you can have. So around the 66, I would say it would be senior level of designer with some kind of experience already, maybe like 5 years, and some deliverables that they have done during their journey. So that's all what I would like to share today with you, and happy to pass the stage to Navid.
Thank you, Natalia. Thanks for sharing that. I've heard your presentation before, but I always find out something new. So yeah, great. Thank you. And I hope everyone enjoyed that and learned a lot from Natalia, who has a lot of experience and lots of wisdom to share with others. So thank you. We have a couple more slides before we go to the Q&A. So if you do have any questions, feel free to start adding those in. And we will try to get through as many as possible. So perhaps some of you joined more recently and you've missed about UX Academy. So I've got a couple more slides here. Here we talk about what a week looks like. So you have, we are a beginner UX UI design course is 8 weeks long, one evening a week. And in each evening, you will have a class where you learn about the theory, some principles, and examples. You will also have some fun work where you work on the project that you've been assigned. So this is a real world project where you'll get a briefing from the company and you'll have an opportunity to have questions or ask questions with that company as you go through the user-centered design journey and apply the learnings you have taken from Natalia and from Stratis and implement it into your perhaps first UX UI project. And then during that journey, you also get weekly mentorship where you'll get support and advice about your project and also general coaching to help you kind of further your UX UI design skills and help you answer any questions that haven't been asked or answered during the weekly course. So yeah, one more slide, a couple more slides. Why UX Academy? So ours is completely live online teaching. It's not pre-recorded. If you want to join a pre-recorded, there's plenty of free courses out there, and I totally recommend you to do that. But once you're serious about developing your career into UX, it's time to do a live course with teachers who are working in the industry. Both Natalia and Stratis have at least 15 years of experience. Which is great. You'll get a certificate which is certified by the CPD. So that's kind of a very well-known certification in the UK. You get a UX design mentorship, and we have flexible payment plans, and I think everything else I've already mentioned. Finally, the most important part, or the second most important part after Natalia's presentation, is the Q&A. So here's an opportunity for you to ask questions. I know I see someone's asked a question about the pricing of the course. So the course price is £1,500, and that includes everything. So we are proud to offer something very competitive in terms of pricing compared to other courses, based on the fact that it's live, it includes a portfolio, the courses are certified, and you work on real projects. If anyone else has any other questions, please ask. I see we've got a couple more. We've got a question from someone asking, are UI skills required for UX designers? So I think that question's for Natalia. So Natalia, over to you.
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I think I already a little bit gave a talk about that actually UI design can influence UX design. So that's make the big difference if you change the color, shape, size of the elements on the screen. So your work always in collaboration. If you work in the team where you have UX department and UI department separately, you will work in a very close collaboration, or you can be the person who worked with UX UI. And that's not necessary. And as I mentioned, you can focus on user experience, you can become a user research expert, and you can start to wireframe the ideas and pass that to the UI designers. What mean wireframes? Wireframes, it's a layout of the interface, like I assume it's a mobile application. So you put on the screen all the elements, what should be on the screen, you put them in the right place that easy for user, and then you collaborate that with user interface designer, and designers start to work on the style. And again, it's based on the audience or the focus group, who is your user. It should be maybe something a luxury, or maybe it should be something kiddish or something fun. So it's depends from your personas. It's your user group. So you when you are doing the interviews, right, you group your user based on some characteristics, and based on that you create semi-fictional person, and this person we call persona, that help you to think about who will use your product, because you cannot think in one go about all the users in the world who will use your product, right? So you have to keep someone who represents some group of the users. And if we're back to the UX UI, I would suggest to have vision. What is UI? Maybe it is not your field of interest, or you don't feel very confident and like, oh, UI design, visual design, I have to draw. Actually, no, because for that we have a graphic designers. So if you don't have a skills draw with hand, that's totally fine, because user interface design is slightly different. And of course you learn mix and match colors, use the fonts, but it's a little bit different, and it's a more scientific, and it's about the accessibility, to test how your interface actually accessible for everyone, for people with different kind of disabilities. And also you are learning about the devices, their dimension, what is good for mobile, what is good for desktop, what the size of the font, what font is readable, not readable. So it's quite different skill sets, and you don't need to be a graphic designer to be UI. And I would suggest to maybe start with UX, and with the time learn about UI more and be UX UI, because it will be a great skill set. Navid?
Great. Thank you, Natalia. Sorry, I'm just unmuting myself. We have a few more questions. So Jonas asked about whether we have loan or scholarship opportunities. We do have both. You should find a scholarship page on our website, which you can absolutely apply for. And we still have some available for this course. In terms of loan, we do partner with a a finance provider. They don't charge any interest on the loan. So it's split payment terms, and UX Academy actually takes on all the fees. So from your side, you will only pay for the course over a certain period of time. Obviously, you need to be approved by them, but you'll find more details on and the company is called StepX, but you'll find more details on our website, or just make an inquiry and I'm sure someone will reach out to you. And another question, a bit more on the UX side. So someone asked about suggested sources to start in UX design. Natalia, if you have any advice or feedback.
Yeah, as you already, Navid, mentioned, there are a lot of pre-recorded videos on YouTube and the platforms for learning, self-paced learning. You can take a look. What I would suggest it's follow Don Norman and Nielsen group. So it's nngroup.com, and also their YouTube channel. So they make a lot of short videos explain the user experience principles. So usually it's between 3-5 minutes, but really very clear and clean, explaining the details like a law of UX and frameworks and different research methods. So they have a wonderful source. And of course, I think start to read some books, like maybe something like a classic, like a Steve Crook, Don't Make Me Think. It's a very easy to read. It's I think it's like around already like a 15 or 20 years old book, but it's give you clear overview that user experience is around, how works our world. And I think because it's, in my opinion, it's easy to read, it's engaged, it's not so technical, you will very quickly catch the idea and then go to the more technical and deep knowledge about UX.
Thank you, Natalia. Sorry, small delay. A couple more questions. We are running out of time, so I think this could be the last couple. Someone asked if the course is suitable for beginners. Absolutely, this is a beginner UX UI design course. It's very intense though, right? So we deliver a lot because we have experts in the field who want to deliver a lot of knowledge. So we always recommend getting a little bit of background knowledge, reading a little bit up about UX UI design, even doing some of those free kind of courses, or even some of the YouTube videos online to learn more, because that will be a great background for you. What we offer is way more than something pre-recorded. It can never replace the live in-person teaching, which is going to be in small groups, maximum of 8 people. So yeah, just an answer there. And then one other person asked about salaries for technical copywriter and UX designer. Obviously, we can't really comment on salaries, but perhaps, Natalia, you have some feedback on the technical copywriting aspect of UX design and where that overlaps.
Yeah, copywriting, and also now we more and more speak about UX writing, right? Because we need not just the content, but also adapted content. So user experience point of view on text is quite important. So I really don't know, it's because it's about the location, right? So and of course the level of the knowledge, right? So I would suggest to use platform like a Glassdoor. So you enter there the location where you are and the job title, job description, right? So that would be very, very helpful to find. So there is a few more platforms like Glassdoor that provide this kind of information. So I would suggest you take a look, but it's a well-paid salary and it's close to the designers, that job, because from UX writing depend a lot of success.
Great, thank you, Natalia. Thank you for everyone who has dialed in and listened in. Apologies, we couldn't answer all your questions. They came in from various sources. What we'll do is someone will reach out from UX Academy to answer any of the questions that haven't been answered. If anything comes up, feel free to reach out and contact us directly on our website. We're more than happy to provide you feedback, and we can also reach out to Natalia if we can't get the answer. So yeah, thank you everyone again. Our course will be starting soon, so do learn more. You can download the brochure from our website, and we hope you've enjoyed the session today. Thank you again, Natalia, and yeah, hope everyone has a good rest of the day.
Thank you.